Daniel here with an event video on the state of Nevada versus Austin Sachs, a case involving parents seeking justice as they face criminal child abuse charges over their medical decisions. The state of Nevada accuses Austin Sachs and Yushang Zhang of placing their child in harm's way by denying medical treatment. The defendants deny the allegations and assert that their right to non-medical remedial treatment for their child is protected by a Nevada
I was out of
statute
town,
NRS
and my wife was looking after our 8-year-old boy, and he had some Ling Ling chicken dumplings, and he got like a fever that evening, and then the next morning he had seizure-like symptoms, like he kind of fell to the ground and shook a little bit. And so my wife, without my guidance, called the paramedics, and they took him to a hospital in Henderson, Nevada. My wife gives me a call, and I fly back as soon as I can. I fly back in a couple days. I was on the East Coast, flew back to Nevada, and I went straight to the hospital, and the doctor there basically was saying, I'm here to I'm treating his symptoms. And I said, we don't want his symptoms treated. What we want is one of two things. We want him released, or we want him taken to a better hospital, because he was not this way before I left. And so what happened is my wife and I were rewarded with a present the next day, a visit by CPS. So my wife and I had our 8-year-old son taken from us, and it was under the most egregious conditions possible, because there is a NRS statute in the state of Nevada where our son was taken from us. There's an NRS 200.5085, which basically says that parents are entitled to take care of their child through remedial, non-medical means, as long as they're acting in good faith and the place that they're taking their child is recognized and permitted by the state of Nevada. So we ended up taking our child to a naturopathic doctor.
This case is moved from District Court Judges Joe Hardy, Jasmine Lily Spells, Christina Silva, Harley Kearney, before landing in front of District Court Judge Jessica Peterson. The case nears a jury trial in February of 2025. District Court Judge Jessica Peterson is allowing comprehensive electric coverage of the proceedings, the first hearing of which was held on January 8th of 2025 and is available to watch now. The state of Nevada is represented by Chief Deputy District Attorney Dina Renetti. Austin Sachs and Yushang Zhang are represented by defense attorneys Charles Goodwin and Travis Shetler, respectively. You can keep up to date with our coverage schedule by visiting ournevadajudges.com, and feel free to post any questions you have in the comments below, or you can email us at media@ournevadajudges.com.
Well, so in looking at your argument, your motion argues that the charge of child abuse and neglect lacks sufficient legal grounds. You argue that he is accused of neglect for leaving his 8-year-old child home alone. You argue that Nevada law does not specify a minimum age at which children can be left unsupervised, nor does it automatically consider such conduct neglectful. And you state that the state's claim hinges solely on Wiles' age and his being home alone, without additional evidence showing he was in immediate danger or incapable of self-care. However, in looking at the indictment in this case, it specifically states that on a specific date, the minor child was left alone at home without adequate care, control, or supervision. So it doesn't just say that he was left home alone. So I think your argument is belied by the actual indictment in and of itself.
So, and Your Honor, just to speak to that, those are the elements. If you go through the child abuse and neglect, those are simply the elements of the crime. Those are not actual facts of the crime. So when they're saying that that's exactly what happened, what they're actually doing is citing to the elements rather than any factual pleading. going through the statute, that's exactly what the statute lists as one of the potential ways that you could be convicted of child abuse, neglect, and endangerment. It does not, though, list out what facts are meeting those elements or what facts are being alleged in those elements. Now, I've seen some of the grand jury transcript, and all they did was they looked inside and they asked him, and it's not even very clear how much they did in the house according to the grand jury transcript, which I do agree with the state, they could look to it, but the grand jury transcript